So, what is going on with mortgage rates? I mean, seriously. One day they seem like they're about to drop, the next, they're shooting right back up. If you're feeling some serious whiplash trying to keep track, trust me, you are not alone. Today, we're going to unravel this giant, complicated tug of war that has everyone guessing.
It really does feel like a roller coaster, doesn't it? But here's the thing. It's not random. There are actually two massive, powerful forces pulling rates in completely opposite directions. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what they are so you can finally make sense of all this chaos.
The best way to picture what's happening right now is to think of a giant game of tug of war. On one side of the rope, you have this steady, heavy anchor. That's the U.S. economy. And on the other side, you have this unpredictable global event that's just yanking the rope all over the place. Let's meet the two teams.
So here they are, our two opposing sides. On one side, we've got Team USA Economy. Think jobs reports, inflation data, all the stuff that's been pretty strong and frankly predictable. But on the other side, we have Team Global Wildcard. These are the geopolitical shocks that can change everything overnight. And right now, these two are in an absolute dead heat.
Okay, so let's start with the home team, the U.S. economy. To really get a handle on this side of the rope, we have to look at the playbook that the Federal Reserve is using. You can almost think of them as the referee in this match, and their calls have a huge impact on the game.
The Fed is laser-focused on two main scoreboards, and pretty much only two, the jobs market and the inflation rate. I mean, these two data points are the foundation for almost every single decision they make about where interest rates are headed.
And here's what's so interesting. Both of these reports are pulling the rope in the exact same direction. And that direction is toward higher rates. I mean, look at the jobs report. Unemployment is under 5%. That's pretty much a fully healthy job market. Then you look at inflation, it's still hanging out at 2.8%, which is way above the Fed's 2% target. So what's the conclusion? Well, with a strong job market and inflation that just won't quit, the Fed has zero reason to even think about cutting rates. This is the anchor holding everything in place.
Now, you probably hear about the CPI number all the time, but the one the Fed really watches is called PCE, or Personal Consumption Expenditures. It's basically a super broad measure of what we all spend our money on. The key thing is, the Fed feels it's a truer signal of where inflation is really at. And right now, that signal is still flashing red.
So, if we were only looking at what's happening here in the U.S., the story would be pretty simple, right? The economy is strong, so the Fed keeps rates high to fight inflation, and mortgage rates would just follow along that clear path. But it's never that simple, is it?
So yeah, let's talk about that global shock. This is the other side of the rope, the side where things get messy and totally unpredictable. A huge external factor has crashed the party, and its name is oil.
I mean, just when the market thought it had the Fed's playbook all figured out, this massive global wild card comes along and threatens to throw all those careful plans right out the window.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. According to Dan Frio over at the Rate Update, oil is going to be the predicate of all the stuff that's going on right now. What he means is, it's the foundation. It's the starting point for everything else that's happening in the market. So why is oil such a big deal? Well, it's pretty simple. Unrest over in the Middle East is causing oil prices to spike. And when oil gets more expensive, guess what? Everything gets more expensive. Gas prices, shipping costs, the food on our shelves, it all goes up. And that threatens to push inflation right back in the wrong direction.
And this chart, wow, this really tells the story. Remember all that stable economic data we looked at? That was from back in January and February, when things were calm. But look at what happened in March and April. That sharp increase, that's the shock to the system. That's the sudden, powerful yank from the other side of the rope that's making everybody nervous.
Okay, so we've got our two opposing forces. We've got the steady U.S. economy versus this chaotic global oil situation. How does this tug of war actually change the mortgage rate you're offered? Well, it all comes down to the bond market and how it reacts to the news of the day. All right, this next part is absolutely crucial, so listen up. Your mortgage rate isn't set by the Fed. Not directly. It's actually set by the price of something called mortgage-backed securities, or MBS. And all you have to remember is this simple seesaw effect. When the price of these MBS bonds go down, your mortgage rate goes up. They always move in opposite directions. So let's walk through the chain reaction. Step 1. Some bad news hits the market, right? Like oil prices are spiking. Step 2. What do nervous investors do? They sell bonds, including these MBS, and that causes their price to drop. And that brings us to step 3. The seesaw kicks in. MBS prices fall, so lenders have no choice but to raise the mortgage rates they offer you.
It can happen in a flash.
And that, right there, brings us back to our tug of war. Even though we have that strong domestic data acting as an anchor, trying to keep things stable, the fear from the global oil situation is causing this massive extra pull. Investors get scared, they sell bonds, and that puts even more upward pressure on rates. Right now, Team Global Wildcard is winning.
All right, so that's the why. It's a battle between stable economics and global chaos. But let's bring this all back home. What on earth does this actually mean for you? What should you be doing?
Okay, here's the playbook. If you're thinking about refinancing, the move is to get your application ready to go now. The market is so jumpy that a piece of good news could cause a sudden dip in rates, and you want to be in a position to lock it in immediately. If you're looking to buy a home, get qualified for a rate that's actually a little bit higher than today's rates. That way, if rates tick up suddenly, you're not knocked out of the game. And for everybody, the thing you need to be watching isn't the Fed anymore. It's the price of oil.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. In a market that's defined by this constant tug of war between predictability and chaos, preparation is really the only advantage you have. So what's the bigger risk? Acting now with a smart strategy, or just waiting and waiting for a perfect moment that, honestly, may never even show up? Thanks for joining me.